Eradicating child poverty has been declared a national mission by the Scottish Government, and it must be a mission for all of us. As we've seen during the pandemic, it's often the most vulnerable who suffer the most, and with rising fuel, food and housing costs, it's a mission which now more than ever requires urgency and action. I welcome the Cabinet Secretary's remarks that the current cost of living crisis and international uncertainty has strengthened the Government's resolve to work across society, and I also welcome the actions laid out in the statement, increasing the Scottish Child payment to £25, 5 times the initial amount when it's extended to all under 16s at the end of the year, increasing employment services, supporting up to 12,000 parents into fair and sustainable work, the new £15 million fund to tackle financial barriers to work, and steps to mitigate the UK Government's benefit cap. The development of the delivery plan identified a range of priority groups where evidence shows us that the prevalence of child poverty is higher: households with a disabled parent or child, minority ethnic households, larger families, lone parents, mothers under 25 and families with a child under 1 year of age. People's lives don't fit neatly into boxes, and inevitably there will be many people who have more than one of these vulnerabilities, and all these groups will benefit from the actions that have been outlined. Doubling the Scottish Child payment to £20 in April and then increasing it to £25 is an example of real action which makes a difference to families, especially children, and it underlines the Scottish Government's commitment on this matter. Where we can, getting cash into the hands of those who need it is crucial, and it's the most dignified approach. Families themselves know what they need. I've heard the line a few times now from the opposition benches, admittedly not in this debate, but this week, that there's not a constitutional solution to the cost of living crisis. And of course, simply having the power and the responsibility does not mean that a government will tackle poverty and inequality. We see that from Westminster, where yesterday the Chancellor did not use every lever and resource at his hands to protect and support families. But no one serious can fail to acknowledge that the actions of our Scottish Government are being undermined by the UK Government's austerity. Combined with a deeply damaging £20 cut to universal credit, the constant need to mitigate the actions of the Conservative Government to protect our citizens means that investment made to alleviate things like the obscene bedroom tax is money that's spent to stand still. I have greater ambition for my country than simply reducing the worst harms caused by a Tory government, a government that Scotland didn't vote for. And we can see the difference. Better choices can be made here, even under the current setup. Briefly, yeah.
I'm grateful for the member for taking intervention. The relationship she describes is also the relationship between the Scottish Government and councils. So the decision her government took to cut £250 million from council budgets is also going to have an impact. Would you not accept that?
Ms Maguire.
We're operating in challenging times here. The Scottish Government's budget has been cut. Now, we've outlined a number of things where the Government has taken action. What I've just said there is that putting money directly into the pockets of families who are affected is one of the most important things we can do. Now, until we have the full powers and responsibility of independence, we are going to have to work with one hand tied behind our back. Despite that, the Scottish Government is maximising incomes and providing support through devolved social security powers, with the 8 Scottish social security benefits being increased by 6% from April 1st. This will go some way to help the most vulnerable with the cost of living crisis. With almost £6 billion being invested over the last 3 years to support low-income households across Scotland, more than a third of that total, around £2.18 billion, has directly benefited children. The benefit take-up strategy is crucial too. Despite what some of the nastier commentators might have you believe, there are a lot of people out there not claiming their full entitlement. I know this to be true from my own casework. Now, income maximisation is an important offering in a lot of our community organisations, but I'd like to particularly acknowledge the work of North Ayrshire Council's Money Matters team. In the last 2 years, they've helped North Ayrshire residents secure £30 million in state benefits, money I would press that these citizens are entitled to, and money that is more often than not spent in the local economy. Now, social security alone is not the answer. We need continued focused action from other areas of government to contribute to meeting targets. Housing is crucial. Rent payments are the single biggest cost for many households, and year-on-year increases from social landlords squeeze already stretched family budgets. I know that the Cabinet Secretary agrees that we must ensure that our affordable housing in Scotland truly means affordable, and I look forward to hearing about the work the Scottish Government are doing in this regard. Economic development, transport, skills and childcare provision brought together and focused on knocking down barriers to employment would be a hugely powerful and effective thing. I know that there are limitations on what the Scottish Government can do to improve job quality in the private sector, but I believe that the commitments in the National Strategy for Economic Transformation to improve wages and conditions in sectors like leisure, hospitality, early learning and childcare through sectoral fair work agreements is a very welcome focus. No one action in isolation can make the scale of difference we need, but with direct efforts to get more cash in the pockets of families now, action on economic development, transport, skills, childcare and other family supports, we can make a difference to families now and real progress on sustained poverty reduction. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Ms Maguire.